So this is something that we need to discuss amongst shop guys and in the field guys. We need a place for the shop guys not only to unload their tools, particularly their personal tools, right? Because for me, if we're in town, you should be taking your personal tools out of the vehicle every morning when you come back at the end of your shift. Because it's not your truck, it's my truck. And I'm gonna send my truck wherever the fuck I want during the day to do whatever it is that it needs to do. So I might tell Bright, hey, jump in the truck, go to Edmonton, pick up some countertops. Or I might say, go here and do whatever, right? It's not his responsibility to move your personal tools, right? So personal tools should not be in the truck when the truck is left at the job site. If you're out of town, different story, right? Obviously, nobody's coming to take the truck during the day when you're out of town. But in town in particular, you need to work on the expectation that somebody needs that vehicle during the day. And sometimes we'll have a daytime crew and a nighttime crew, right? So that vehicle might be going with the daytime guys for them to go do whatever it is that they're gonna do. Or you leave your hard hat in the truck, in the cab, or your Viz vest, or whatever it is, right? Take your stuff out of the trucks, okay? Moving forward, please. That's just the best way. So it's not like this is the end of the world, but you guys in the field all have your pet peeves about the shop guys. Guess what? Shop guys all have their pet peeves about you guys too.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
I've been on both ends of it, so.
Yeah. And part of the issue up until now is we physically haven't had space, right? So we've never told you guys to take the stuff out of the truck because in the old shop, where are you going to put it? Like there's no place, right? So here at some point, we're going to get extra pallet racking set up. There's going to be a dedicated spot for each one of the rolling tool carts because, if we need the van to take a load of material, we're going to send Bright somewhere. Obviously, we don't want the tools in there. So we might message you guys, hey guys, please take the tools out of the truck, like all the tools. You need someplace to put them, right? So part of getting set up here is we'll dedicate a spot for the tools to go, for the personal tools to go, so that you guys have a place where you can leave them, where it's a spot where they go, nobody touches your stuff, they leave it alone, right? We got to talk about saw blades, jigsaw blades, drill bits, screw cover caps, like all of silicones, all of those kinds of consumables, sanding pads. So again, this is all meant to be in the packouts, right? Because what has happened and what continues to happen is guys take stuff out of the packout, they put it in their personal bag, and then they wander around the job site doing whatever they're doing, using the stuff like they're supposed to, but then it doesn't go back in the packout at the end of the night. And then the next night, different guy comes, looks for the stuff in the packout, and he's like, oh, it's not here. So now I need more two-way tape, frantic text message or whatever. So we get a more two-way tape, right? So then that guy, on the next time, was like, well, I see I've got my two-way tape, but we ran out last time, so I'm just going to take some extra just in case, right? And, I'm going to take a little extra silicone. I'm going to take a little extra of this, a little extra of that. And before you know it, we've got, guys rolling around with 30 tubes of silicone and, God knows what else stuffed into the trucks, which are basically unnecessary, right? It's stuff that we're hauling around that we really don't need. So there needs to be a place for this stuff for the installers. I don't know if you guys have looked at the spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet say how many rolls of double-sided tape, how many tubes of silicone, how many tubes of color match silicone, and which tubes of color match silicone. Like everything is there in the spreadsheets for most of these stores, right? So the information's all there. We're going to provide you what the spreadsheet says you're supposed to need. Nothing more. If you come to me and say, listen, we're consistently running out of this, maybe my formula is incorrect. Maybe it takes more silicone than I thought it would. Maybe you guys are using the silicone for something that you did not anticipate, right? Horst used to go over here with something silicone, we couldn't figure out what he was using it for, and then we come to find out he's siliconing all the wall boards for the wall protection to the wall. It's like, okay, well, no wonder he's going through so much silicone, right? It was another thing. Like, the spreadsheet calculates the amount of those cylinders that you should be using. I allow 22 sheets per 38-pound canister. That is a good average yield. Maybe if you spray a little heavy, you only get 20. Maybe if you spray a little light, you get 24, right? But in order to actually properly bond that stuff to the wall, it's got to be somewhere in that 22 range. If you're spraying 30, you're not using enough glue, everything's going to fall off. If you're only doing 18, you're using way too much glue, and also everything's going to fall off. Right? And more glue doesn't solve problems, it makes it worse. So, do we?
It's too much glue, maybe. Or too much lacquer, or peel it off and redo it.
Yeah, maybe that as well, right? So,
How much do you think that costs? Exactly. There or thereabouts, right? The other issue is that Festool is definitely a specialized tool. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere in Saskatchewan and you run out of bags for your Festool, there is 0% chance you're going to find more bags in the field. These, if you kill one of these, or you need a new filter, or you need vacuum bags, you go to the Home Depot, the Home Hardware, the Rona, any probably building store, you're likely going to be able to find what you need. So this is part of the reason why we use these. I don't know if you guys have seen the Milwaukee one that we've got, that I bought, that's a rectangle. We will be developing more carts for both the chop saw and the Festool at some point in time. My hope is to use those because I think they'll fit in a cart better. But again, they're expensive, right? It's like friggin' 550 or 600 bucks for each one of those vacuums. So if I need to buy 2 of those for each crew, and I got 4 crews going, it gets expensive in a hurry. So what we'll do is we'll do a prototype, we'll build one, we'll ask you guys for some feedback and see how you like them, see how they're working. And if they're working well, then probably we invest the money and we get everybody set up the same way. So you get a 3-pack, you attach one of them, and then you take the other 2 and you put them around the outside edge of the vacuum so that when the vacuum expands the first time, it just pushes them up tight to the outside edge. Then when that bag's full, you pull it out, you take one of the 2 that you got as extra, you put it in, you leave the last one in there. So the only thing, if you're gonna have extra bags in the truck, you should have a full 3-pack, right? Like in the plastic, because they come in packs of 3. Right, so that's what I would say is the best way of dealing with that. Or some dickhead site supervisor calls them and says you got to relaminate an entire pharmacy. All right, do you think Cam's worried about your vacuum bags when that happens? He's not. So don't rely on him, because if you do, it's a crapshoot, right? So you don't know what's going to happen in his day, right? We're going to have to talk about like getting blades sharpened, where the guys should leave them, where the blades that have been sharpened for them to take are going to be. I think the blades need to be assigned to crews. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but everything's got a color code, right? And they're not to be mixed and matched. Like if you're blue tools, you should only have blue tools. You shouldn't have mostly blue and some green and some red and some yellow. That's how we've been doing it. But we also assign it to the van. Right? So if you're in this van with those tools, then those tools will be assigned to this van. Well, you tell me. This is, and I'm serious here, this is part of the conversation, because if we had 100% confidence that all of the toolkits were exactly the same and all of the guys that were using those toolkits were maintaining them properly, I would say don't move the tools. But what happens is you've got your toolkit here, all nicely organized, everything's where it's supposed to be, you got sharp blades, everything's good. Now you go over to some other knucklehead's toolbox and you're like, where are all the batteries? Why don't I have my laser? How come all our blades are dull? You know what I mean? Like, so the reason it happens is because that end that fits with the newer Festool hoses is a little bit bigger. And I've bought that as a part and I've added it to our older Festools so they'll all be compatible with the new ones. But if you don't turn it up or remove it and set it inside the Festool, the actual Festool box is too small and anything that bumps it here breaks them off. If you, like I bought a brand new Festool because we had one that was so badly damaged it was going to cost 650 bucks to repair it. You could buy a new one for 750 bucks. So, you know, I'm buying a new one at that point. So I bought a new one. If you look at the new boxes that the saws come in, they're slightly taller and the plastic in the bottom moves the saw forward so there's more room on the back, right? But that's why those parts are missing, because when I did it the first time, I told all the guys that worked here, hey, you got to do this. But now 3/4 of those guys are gone and the other quarter of the guys completely forgot about it anyways, right? So again, if you do it every single day and you do it the same way every day, then you don't have to remember anymore. But if you're just like, whatever, it doesn't matter, and I'll do it today and maybe tomorrow, and then it's not that big of a deal, I don't have to turn the thing, then guess what? Now your saw is broken. I'm not saying you did that, but you know what I mean? That's how this goes, right?
It's like we were talking about.
Yeah, so where it'll become a little more complicated is when we do actually get the shelving set up in the truck, because then you would also have to remove everything out of the shelving as well, right? So it would become more difficult to do a vehicle swap like that. So, you know, there's pros and cons to doing it either way.
Let me forget the what's called the cord, the small cord, the dolly cord for the Milwaukee. Let's say I go on a job inside. I don't need the Milwaukee the pin nailer, just 3 box or 4 box. I can just put it on the cord and push it.
Well, you can, but what happens when you need more than that? Because most nights you need more than that, right?
No, I tell you when I was working there, you need only four things. That's it.
Well, what 4 things are you taking? Because most nights you need a laser, you need the battery box, you need a chop saw, you need a fez tool. Like
No,
what?
no, it's not the thing, right? Let's say just for the Milwaukee box, right? There's that the rolling, right? I need only four pack out. On all this, just 4 pack out. Just laser, battery, and
You're not fitting that in 4 pack outs, Hansley. There's no way you're going to get the tools that you need on a regular basis to do what we do in 4 pack outs. You're just not.
I don't know, I just like bringing the whole cart.
Yeah. Plus the cart's a work table. And you guys all need work tables, right? And then what do you do with screws? Because the screws are on the cart as well, right?
So what